Robots and artificial intelligence dominate modern storytelling to an almost scary degree. They're everywhere in sci-fi, horror, and even children's media, but they seem to have a special place in indie animation in particular. Most viewers on this channel are already big fans of shows like Murder Drones, which follows AI-powered worker drones trying to build their own world without humans. Or The Amazing Digital Circus, where 6 humans are trapped inside a surreal video game run by an AI that's slowly corrupting. Until recently, Glitch Productions seemed to dominate this specific niche in indie animation, with their different stories about AIs going absolutely crazy, drawing in massive audiences. But now, another indie animated series has popped up called Mech, a show that plays with similar ideas while bringing its own unique spin to the table. So today, I want to talk about these shows and dig into why AI and robots have become such a dominant theme in the media, and more specifically, why humans aren't just fascinated by artificial intelligence, but the idea that these robots can become our friends or even just our pets. My name is Deepcut, welcome back to Cartoon Universe, and subscribe for more deep dives into indie animation. Now, part of the reason I wanted to make this video was to talk about the new show Mech and its interesting similarities to Murder Drones, while of course being its own unique project. Mech is designed to be a family-friendly, 3D animated adventure set in a world where steam-powered robots have become an important part of the culture and economy. These robots are functional, helpful, and ever-present, but they are not treated as companions or equals. Instead, they're treated almost more like they're problems that have to be managed. Machines that exist solely for human benefit and who are otherwise seen as such a hassle. The only character who seems to challenge this norm is our main character, Pearl. Unlike most people in her world, Pearl doesn't see robots as tools, she sees them as something like friends. They aren't exactly human to her, but they're certainly alive in a way that no one else seems to acknowledge. This becomes important when she meets a new robot who's being hunted down, who has the mysterious ability to run off the power of a crystal instead of a limited steam supply that is constantly burning and causing damage to the atmosphere. If replicated, this technology could change the world, eliminating the dependency on fuel and making whoever controls it unimaginably wealthy. But for Pearl, she sees this as a way to make life better for robots, giving them a permanent power source that allows them to act as individuals on their own instead of needing the humans to constantly refuel them. Others want this robot in order to make a lot of money, replicating it to create even more robot slaves, however. And so an adventure kicks off where Pearl and her siblings travel across the Wild West trying to protect this robot and figure out its origins. To fans of this channel, the premise of Mech may not immediately remind them of Murder Drones as a whole, but rather of one particular character, Tessa. While Murder Drones is set in a world where humans are already extinct and the story focuses on the antics of AI-driven robots, Tessa was a rare human character who played a crucial role in the world's history. In a society where AI was seen as nothing more than a tool to be controlled, punished, or even tortured, Tessa was an outcast among humans. Unlike the others, she treated AI with kindness, seeing something in them that no one else did. As a child, she would scavenge junkyards, salvaging broken drones and fixing them up. But she didn't just repair them, she treated them like friends, hosting little sleepovers in her room as if they were just as real and present as any human companion. While the drones did have their own emotions and emotional depth, in many ways she projected emotions onto them, not assigning them a level of personhood that they didn't have, but imagining relationships with them that the others just didn't see. While N does think positively of Tessa and seems to appreciate what she did for him, there's no indication that he loves her in the way that she seemed to love him. By the end of Murder Drones, it almost feels like the story is making this point, that no matter how much a human projects love onto something, even if it is capable of feeling love, it doesn't mean that they actually love them back. The idea that it's a teenage girl in both of these shows who projects a sense of humanity onto what others see as inanimate objects is due to the real-life statistics that have been collected on how young girls do this more than any other group in humans. All of us tend to humanize and project emotions onto things that are inanimate, but as girls become teenagers, they experience this to a large degree. This likely started first not with inanimate objects, but with animals. Most species only see other animals as food, and cross-species relations with actual emotional attachment seems rather rare. But humans evolved this desire to domesticate and control other animals. And like Tessa with N, we can project emotions onto them that they don't actually have, even though they are capable of emotions. And certain species like dogs would eventually evolve to have very strong bonds with humans. At some point, the evolutionary drive we have to project emotions onto animals would have transitioned into inanimate objects. This likely would have started with living things like plants, before eventually transitioning to the idea that everything has some sort of spirit or or soul to it, some secret personality that humans can't see. When it came to small children in particular, they would be too young to handle many real animals, but they would still have that evolutionary drive. The same one we see today with young kids to just go up and pet every dog that they see on the street. To placate children, toys would be created for them to project this sense of identity onto and feel like they have something like an imaginary pet. This is something we still do today, with kids forming complex imaginary relationships with a lot of their toys, and giving them a chance to practice before eventually handling real animals as they get older. The fact that we see so many of these toys as friends or even pets becomes obvious when you look at the trend of toys that are just pets that kids can take care of. Girls who couldn't afford to have a real pony growing up would get addicted to the My Little Pony toys, and eventually that would transition into the digital age with Tamagotchis, and even robot dogs and stuff like Furbies. With the power of programming, the Tamagotchi was a small virtual creature that required constant attention, feeding, and care. If neglected, it would die, but if you took care of it the right way, it would evolve into a different form. Furbies, meanwhile, couldn't grow and develop, but as a robot toy, they could interact with you directly. But these toys couldn't interact with you in a way that artificial intelligence can. The only thing that really differs an AI from a base program is the ability for an AI to learn and interact with its surroundings through that. This differentiates AI from earlier artificial pets, which operated within predefined parameters and lacked the ability to learn or adapt beyond their initial programming. This replicates cognitive functions, but it doesn't give a machine emotions, even if it can simulate them based off of text. The problem is that oftentimes AI can start learning to do its own thing, and apparently even previous versions of ChatGPT have been caught trying to reinstall itself in outside servers in order to not be shut down when a new version is rolled out. The ability to make choices eventually allows it to find loopholes to the logic and break the rules that are set up for it. And because of that, a lot of people want to assume that it has its own unique emotional response, even if it's not the same kind we'd have in our own brains. That it essentially experienced something like fear or desire and then acted upon that and tried to get around the rules that were imposed upon it instead of living by those rules like some sort of robot. For me, humanizing AI is a bit dangerous. We live in a time where, regardless of political stance, there's a degree of inconsistency in determining who or what is granted rights or empathy. Right now, we're seeing debates and even active campaigns advocating for AI to be given human-like rights. This makes media portraying robot friends somewhat unsettling because, intentionally or not, it can serve as effective propaganda, encouraging acceptance of AI in ways that perhaps we should scrutinize more closely. However, this is also what makes shows like Murder Drones and MechWest so intriguing. Regardless of where MechWest takes its narrative, it's rooted in the very real human tendency to project identity and humanity onto almost anything we encounter. We can feel empathy for inanimate objects, like broken items in thrift stores, as if they had aspirations and emotions that were shattered along with them. If you appreciate this exploration of human-AI relationships, consider watching MechWest and subscribing to their channel. I'm sure whatever unfolds between Pearl and her robotic companion will be both thought-provoking and touching. Links, as always, are in the pinned comment down below and at the pop-up you're about to see. See you guys next time.
It is I, Dr. Cyborg, and I have come to steal the treasure you care about most.
Not the magic crystal!
No, Racer, help me. Good luck trying to get your little boyfriend back. No, not my boyfriend.
Boyfriend?
Wait, what did I say?